And so the Lord began to speak to me. He said, it is easier for men to commit to God if there is an idol through which they worship. You see, the work of faith is not the work of sight. The work of faith is the work of hope. The work of faith is the work of trust. So if you have faith, you may not have something visible to tie that faith to. However, there is a promise that is invincible that you hope on. You believe in the integrity of the one that has promised you. You believe in the integrity of the one that has shown you what you put your hope on. So you have faith despite the fact that there may not be something tangible in the physical as of that moment for you to hold on to as a token of your faith. But you see, the average human being is an idol worshiper. The average human being dwells in the physical plane. And because he dwells in the physical plane, his approach of that which is spiritual comes from the orientation of the physical. Are we together? His approach of the spiritual things comes from the orientation he has concerning the physical things. And so, if Moses is present physically, then everyone can serve God. But the day Moses leaves, you now discover that these people were actually faithless people. They needed something that was in time that could serve as a conduit, as a motivation for their service to God. Man wants to worship something in time that he can give his praises to when he has received the blessings, or he can hold responsible when the things that were promised are not coming to pass because of the inbuilt faithlessness in the spirit of man. Is it that man cannot have faith? Man can have faith, but man has to see to have faith. He has to see something to believe. And now this is where Satan takes advantage of the average man. And if we are not careful, you who is a servant of the Lord to the people that show the people the Lord, you would become the golden calf that the people are going to cast their gold to create. They are going to worship. They are going to perform oblations and rituals and celebrate your presence. You become a substitute for the God that they should believe in faith. However, they would worship you as though they are worshiping the God of heaven. The same worship but different object. The same name, different spirit, different object. So when you come to the people and you appear before them, if you are not a messenger and you are not careful to identify that I'm just a messenger, you would find out that you become the God that brought the people out of Egypt. And then the worship that is meant for God will be channeled towards you, because the average human being wants to see God so that he can worship. They told Yeshua, say, show us the Father and that's enough for us. Because it is difficult for people to actually put trust in what they cannot see. Now the problem, Pastor Domino, is a trust problem. That's the problem there. It is difficult for a human being to trust the credibility of things that are unseen, when promises are not immediate. When God that you are bringing to them is not tangible. It just dwells within the testimony of your lips. It is quite difficult for human beings to trust that kind of God. So they'll tell you, sir, give us an idol. And sadly, this has become one of the problems that God has with a generation. They cannot see God without an idol. They cannot serve God without an idol. They cannot trust God without trusting in an idol. And sadly, we that are supposed to be servants of God, most of us have taken on the heavy task of becoming an idol to the people. And so guess what? The people would worship you as they would God, and they would call you the God that brought them out of Egypt. The people want to worship an idol. Most of the things many people today call love for God is actually love to God through an idol. So guess what? When the idol doesn't come to church, no church for them anymore, because they don't love God. They have no business with God. When they don't see that idol that motivates them to love this God that they so profess to love, there is no link between them and God. They begin to panic. Then the next thing they do is to look for the next idol they can put their faith on. Sadly, this massive and mighty ministry called the prophetic service that has in ancient time pleased the purposes of God because the messengers understood that they were sent by God to the people as messengers. This prophetic service that God instituted from the days of our ancestors, even into Christ, to be bearers of his tidings unto his people. This prophetic service has become one of the biggest importer and exporter of idolatry. One of the biggest importer and exporter of idolatry. Everyone is addicted to a prophet, addicted to the presence of a galactic prophet, and have blinded the eyes of the people from their God. So in the presence of this idol, the people make merry, they celebrate. There is food, there is wine, there is drink that can go around, and everyone can have a great time in the presence of the idol. May God break idols. May every other thing fade away. May it fade away. And let the Lord, who is the true King, be exalted again.